Hi, this is Amber. So now let's look at Google Slides and how Google Slides can be used to implement a choice board. So I have a sample up it's a partially completed sample that has to do with content choice boards. And you'll see that there's some expectations on this first page to complete 3 activities from each subject every week. So very clear directions on how to turn in the assignments and when the assignments are due. So when you go to the choice board on this particular HyperSlide, you'll see that here are the subjects. And remember, the directions said that the students had to complete 3 from every subject. So that means 3 on the reading page, 3 on the writing page, and so forth. So the way this is organized is if I click on reading, this is going to take me to some activities, and I have to complete 3 of these activities by Friday. And so you'll see the activities are linked here. So some take me to Google Docs, some take me to review websites, so lots of different things that I have to complete. When I'm ready to go to another subject, I go back to the choice board and I can choose a different category. So you can see how this works. So on phonics, I've got different activities, but this is basically a template that shows you how to complete all the assignments. Then there's a more resources where if you want to get some more directions or some more help, then you can get to more resources there. So that's basically a sample of a choice board. So what we're going to be looking at is how to take Google Slides and do some linking internally so that you can make one slide presentation that acts as a choice board. So instead of the flat choice boards that a Google Doc gives you, HyperSlides allows you to do some more dynamic ways of linking things, as well as embedding information, even embedding sound, and some ways that as you're linking to and from, you can give more information. Because if you're wanting to keep your HyperDoc to one page, you're sort of limited with the amount of information. This way, with slides, you can put a lot more information. So let's take a look at how to make a HyperSlide choice board. So I'm going to go to my Google Drive, and I'm going to go into New, and I'm going to go to Google Slides. Now, again, we've discussed this in the past. If you wanted to make a folder and put all of your slides and HyperSlides into one, or your choice boards into one folder, that's really the recommended method. But you're welcome to use any method of organization that you choose. But I'm going to click on Google Slides. Now, I'm going to show you how to use blank and simple Google Slides. But I want you to know there are many, many places you can go and get design templates. But we're going to look at simplicity and create one ourselves today, because I do think it's really important for you to know how to create it yourself, so that when you choose a template that maybe has a more advanced feature, you'll learn how to manipulate it and make it your own. So we're just going to use one of the built-in design templates that are in Slides. So one of the first things you'll want to do is just kind of slide through here and see if there's something that tickles your fancy here. One of the things that you can do is if you click on one of the templates and you're not sure, you know this will be the title slide, but what will it look like when it's just information, you can kind of pick the template and then look over here under the arrow to see what the others might look like. So if you needed to pick one that had a little more flexibility with style, you certainly can do that. So what you'll want to do is click and choose a template that you feel like will work for you. So I'm going to go ahead and choose a template that I want to use, and I'm going to go ahead and choose this one. Then I'm going to close my themes so that I'm all here. Well, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to give your choice board a title, and it depends on how you're going to be making your choice board. A lot of people use the HyperSlide method to do a week long of choice boards, so that by Friday everything that's expected in that HyperSlide is due, but it's totally up to you. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my title and my subtitle on this title slide. So I've gone in and I put my title. This is our independent choice board for week 4. So after you get your main page, the next step and after your first page is we want to do a page that gives directions for the students, very similar to what we saw in that sample earlier. So I'm going to go over to the Add Slide page and I'm going to choose one that's appropriate for giving directions. So I'm going to say that this title and body should work. So I'm going to click on that and add myself a new one. And then I'm going to put that these are going to be our directions for the week. And these are going to have clear expectations for what's going to be done. So like in the example we saw earlier, we had subject areas, and then they had to complete a certain number in each of the subject areas. So if that's how you want to organize it, that's fine, but you decide what you want that expectation to be, and this slide should have all of those expectations on it. So here I have added my directions and given them my expectations of what they're supposed to do, when it's due, and how they're going to turn it into me, and also given them some information about what to do if they need help. So now it's time to create the most important slide, and this is going to be the board that's going to be the home from which everything else is linked, and this is going to be the actual choice board. So I'm going to go over to my new slide with layout, and the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a title only slide. So I'm going to choose title only, and in this title only I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put week 4 choice board, and this is where we are going to begin creating our place that will link to the other slides. So before we actually create the things that will link to the other slides, a highlighter moment, as I call it, is you probably will want to go ahead and create all the slides that are going to have the directions from them. So if you're going to create one subject area and then have choices under that subject area, we're going to want to create those slides first, and then we'll come back to this choice board and link it to all those slides. So for this particular example, I'm going to say that I'm going to have 4 different topics, and in each of those topics they need to, as my directions say, select 2 of the activities in each of those topics. So I'm going to make mine semi-generic, but I'm going to say I have 4 topics, and then in each of those 4 topics they're going to have to choose 2 things to complete. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make another slide, same thing as title only, and then I'm just going to call this category 1. So this is going to be the first category from which they are going to select 2 things that they have to complete. So this is going to be category 1. Now, because I know I'm going to be putting some choices in here, just like our other slide, and I'll go back over there for just a minute. When you went to one of the categories, it had activities to choose from. Now, you don't have to make it that graphic. You could just list the activities, but one of the ways that I find that makes it easy, especially if you're going to be linking to things, is I like using those same boxes that I'll show you how to use on Google Drawings, as well as just a way to click and go. So I'm going to go up to the shapes and I'm going to choose a shape here. And this is going to be one of my activities. So I know they're going to have to choose multiple activities, but I'm going to go ahead and use this as a box. So I'm going to choose a color that semi-matches here and make sure that my text is going to show up. And I'm going to put the directions for the activity here. I'm also going to make sure that mine is aligned the way I want it to be. So I'm going to put, here are my directions. Now, if this were a real sample, obviously I would put more information in there, but I'm going to go ahead and make this option 1, and I'm going to control and copy, and then I'm going to paste and spread these out so that we have multiple options. Now, you can do as many options as you want, but I'm just going to put 4 because there will be 4 options and they only have to pick 2. Now, one thing that you can do here that's kind of cool is if you select all of these boxes, you can right click and align them vertically, so I can make them all aligned to the top. And then if I want to make sure they're all distributed evenly, I can go to distribute horizontally, and then they're all evenly placed. So now that I have category 1, I'm going to go really quick and put option 2, option 3, option 4. So right now I'm just making this template. So this is category 1, and these are the 4 options from which they can choose 2. Now remember, I told you I was going to make 4 categories. So what I'm going to do is, instead of redoing that 3 more times, I'm just going to copy this slide. So I'm going to come over to the right click, duplicate, and I'm going to duplicate that until I have it 4 times. So you'll notice I have category, now they all look alike right now, so that's going to be super confusing. So here's category 1, here's category 2. I'm going to go ahead and change category 2, change this to category 3, and change this to category 4. Now again, I don't have to call this category 1, category 2, category 3. I could call this math, social studies, English, whatever. This could be chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, whatever your separate categories are. So you can fit your content into these boxes. I'm just showing you sort of the framework. Another thing that might help is, right now they're all sort of the same color. So for category 1, maybe I want them to be this color, but maybe for category 2, I'm going to click here and change all of these to a blue color. And then make sure I've got them all selected so I can change the text color. And then I want to go ahead and change that blue to blue. So I could make them different colors. Again, the way I did that is I drew a box, and that selects all of them at once. So I'll make these kind of a yellow color, and that definitely needs a different color text. And probably because I can't really make yellow text look very bright, I'm just going to go ahead and make that black text. But you see how now you can sort of make them look different as well. So I can click here, and let's do this one green. So same thing here, select all, make it green. There we go. So now I have category 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I don't have anything in here yet in terms of content for them to complete. I am just building the framework, and now I will kind of I'm putting up the drywall next. So we're going to build this choice board. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to my main choice board. So here I am at my choice board, and I've got to create something on this page that when clicked will go to category 1, when clicked will go to category 2. So I'm going to give them their choices. So I need 4 different choices because I've got 4 different categories. So I can choose to use the same sort of box structure, or I could be a lot more fun with it. So I'm just going to do some different things just to show you that you could be as creative as you want to be. So maybe for one of the categories, I'm going to make this a cloud, and I'll call this click for category 1. And you know, you can change this however you want, can change your color, can change your font. So it's totally up to you however you want to create it. So there's my category 1, and I want it to be a cloud. So I'm going to go ahead and put my category things here. So I'm going to draw 3 more and then come back and show you how to link them. Okay, so I have category 1, category 2, category 3, but this one I chose to do insert image instead of going up here and doing insert shapes. So I'm going to have to label that one. So I did want to show you you can do some layering. So I can go on top of this little chicken guy here and type out category 4, make sure I have my same font chosen, which was the Chelsea Market. What I want us to see is that I want, when I click on this category 1 cloud, I want it to go to the category 1 slide. So what I'm going to do is click once on this entire item, and I'm going to go up to the insert link button, or I can right click and I can link this way. It's totally up to you. Either way works. So once you click on it, one of the things that I want you to notice is you could put a link to anywhere. But if you don't have a link to if you don't know what you want to link to, you can also go to slides in this presentation. So I could have this click and go somewhere totally different, but I don't want it to go somewhere totally different. I want it to go to category 1. So if I scroll down here, because I used the slide that says title only, when I change the title, the slide actually says category 1. So I can click category 1 and apply. So you'll notice now this says category 1. So if I share this with my students and they click on the cloud, they're going to go to category 1 slide. So what you'll want to do on each of them is click on it, click on the link, go to slides in this presentation, and then choose the slide that matches the title. So this one's category 2. So I'm going to go ahead and keep linking my slides. So now what you'll do is I like to click and make sure that the text matches the button. So category 2, category 1, category 4. So those are correct. So once I present this, these will link to the right place. Well, now when you go to category 1 slide, I can get here, but you'll notice there's not a button to take me back to the choice board. So one of the things I want to do is create a button to take me back to the choice board. So I'm going to go to shapes, choose the button, and I'm going to put one that says return to choice board. So there's my return to choice board. Again, you can always change your font, change the color, center, and so forth, however you want it to look. So I'm going to let mine be this way, but I want to link return to choice board back to slide 3 where our choice board is. So I'm going to click on it and click on link at the top, choose slides in this presentation, and I'm going to make sure this goes to the choice board slide, which over here is slide 3, and click apply. Now what I'm going to do is, remember, I need one of these on each one of these. So I'm going to Control C, and then I'm going to go to each of these and Control V this, and you'll notice it says go to the choice board, go to the choice board. So now I want to kind of show you what this is going to look like when it is in present mode. So I'm going to go ahead and do a sample present so that you can see it. So the student clicks next, they read the directions, they click next, and now they have their choice board. So if I want to choose from category 3, I'll click category 3. Here's my topics. So I'm going to click 2 of these optional activities. I can return to the choice board, click category 1, there's my category 1, category 4, and category 2. So you see how that works. Now, I'm going to go back to edit mode so that you can see what's happening next. So when they were on this first slide, they had to know to click next. So one of the things I like to do on my choice boards is give them a button that tells them what to do, because I like to remove those next buttons from the bottom, and I'll show you how to do that later. So I'm actually going to go ahead and make myself a button here, and this is going to say get started, because I want them to know that was the introductory slide, and this is going to help them get started. Now, I want this button to link to the directions so they can get started. So I'm going to click on it, go up to the top, go to slides and presentation, and I want that to go to the directions for the week. Apply. So this, when I click on it, will take me directly to this. Now once I get here, I need some way that I know after I read the directions, I go to the choice board. So one of the things that I can do is use the choice board button, return to choice board, copy. So I'm going to come back to my directions, and instead of return to choice board, I can change it to proceed to the choice board, or I'm ready to go, or whatever, and I'm going to make sure this says choice board. So now I have some buttons that help me maneuver. So I'm going to go back and we're going to look at that present again so that you can see now the navigation this has added. So I read, oh, this is week 4, great. Okay, get started. I read my directions, I'm ready to get started, so I'm going to proceed. Then it takes me to my choice board, I pick my category, I do 2 things, return to the choice board, go to the category, do 2 more things, and so you get the point. So totally finished. So when you are finished with your choice board, you will have gone to each category and you will have completed 2 activities. So basically what we've done here is we've created the structure for choice. And what you can do is then go into these categories and put your activities here. What is your optional 1 activity? What is your optional 2 activity? And this is where you can link to outside things. Go to this YouTube link. Go to this Google Doc. Go to this website. And if you want to link things here, it's the same as we did before. Highlight. Go up to the link, except this time instead of going to a slide in this presentation, you're going to actually go to that article or whatever. So I'm going to apply, and then that's going to be able to go to whatever it is that I wanted them to be able to read. So this is where you can start making choices. So what I would recommend is that you make a choice board that you like. You go ahead and get all the linking working, all the buttons, all the linking back and forth working. Save that one as your template. And then when it comes to week 5 and week 6, you're simply using that template again and just changing your activities in the template so that you don't have to do the work of linking. The hardest part of a HyperSlide is linking from slide to slide to slide. Once you have that part completed, then it's super easy to do. So now what I want to show you how to do is how to share this, and this can be a little complicated, so I'm going to pull this down so that you can see what I'm doing here. Normally when you go to share something, you would go to share button and you would share it, or you would go to Google Classroom and you would share it through Google Classroom. But if you share this with your students, they're going to see this view of all these slides over here. Well, I don't want them to see all that. I just want them to navigate to what I want them to navigate to. So here is what I suggest that you do in order to not have the confusion of them seeing the slides on the side, in order to help them actually use the buttons and the navigation that you've created. So the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that your slideshow is set so that anyone in Henderson County Public Schools with the link can view it. You need to have that done first, or anyone in your class or whatever. So once it's done, I'm going to click copy link. Now, we kind of showed this in the doc one, but this is a little more intense. So I'm going to come to a new tab and show you how to do this. So I'm going to paste this, and you'll notice before when we did Google Docs, we changed edit to copy so that each student got their own copy. Well, I don't want them to get their own copy of this. They don't need to do anything on it. They just need it as a reference and a clickable guide. So I'm going to actually put the word present. Okay, and I'm going to copy this, and I want to show you what this looks like when I hit enter. What it looks like is it looks like a Google slideshow in present mode, but it doesn't take up the entire screen. So that's one benefit. But you'll notice when I move this around, I get this bar in the way. And so if this button were on this side, I couldn't even click to it because of this little bar. So I like to take it one step further. Besides just putting present, you're also going to put question mark RM equals minimal. When you do question mark RM equals minimal, here's what happens. You no longer have that bar at all in the bottom. So now I have present question mark RM equals minimal, and now the only thing they need are my buttons. There's nothing else that they need to navigate this HyperSlide. So one of the things that I suggest when you get this link back to the present RM equals minimal, even if I go to Google Classroom and add this as a link, Google thinks you're sharing it as a slideshow, and so it will take you back to your old view where they'll still see the slides. So you may want to take this link, and instead of putting it as a link in Google Classroom or as something from Drive in Google Classroom, you may want to go to bit.ly and create a short bit.ly link. The other option is, instead of putting it in links or Drive, you can also put it in the description of the Google Classroom assignment. It's not a pretty link, but at least it will help them be able to see the link and be able to click on it from Google Classroom. But you can go to bit.ly and create a link so that when they add that as a link in Google Classroom, a bit.ly link will not take them back to that presentation mode. It'll take them just to this. So super great tips for knowing how to make this HyperSlide work for you. So if I take this back off and put in edit, then I'm able to see it in the edit mode. Your students, of course, wouldn't be able to do that because you haven't given them edit rights. You've only given them view rights. So it would just take them to the view only. So things that we have learned a lot. We've gone over a lot. The most important thing is think about how you want your HyperSlide to be. You want to have a title slide. You want to have the directions and expectations slide. After that, you're going to want to have your actual choice board, the choice board that would go to the subcategories. For your subcategory, you're going to want to be able to have little rooms or places like boxes where you have the assignments so that they can choose which one of the activities they want to do. Lastly, you're going to want to make sure that you have navigation to and from each of the slides so that they can go back to the choice board for more choices and to see the directions if they need to. This is a little more complicated, but once you get a template that works that you like, you can just make copies of that and use it over and over and over. There's also a lot of places that you can get pre-made templates, but I do think it's so important to teach you how to make your own so that if the links don't work between the slides on a template, you can figure out for yourself why. So now you know how to make them, have fun, and enjoy doing choice boards with HyperSlides and Google Slides.